Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry I didn't post any videos in the past days. I was just too busy with work and I couldn't really find the time to do anything. But yeah, I'm back, and now in this video we're going to have a look at the dev note number 22. There are a lot of things to be mad about and angry about in these dev notes, unfortunately. They really kind of failed to deliver on some things, I believe. And well, their sort of character choices have always left me with a lot of questions. Like, they're really, really stupid. And this is no exception, unfortunately. It could have been a great update, but I think they kind of messed it up. But okay, I will try my best not to sound too upset, but I cannot guarantee anything. So let's get started with the first part. On May 21st, we have the collaboration with the spin-off in which Urek Mazino is the protagonist. And we're going to have two new units. We already know we're going to get a regular Urek Mazino, and the second unit is going to be Enigmatic Princess of Zahard. So this princess here, we saw very little in the spin-off, I would say. We still don't know the name, unless there is a new chapter I'm not aware of in which they revealed it. But I don't think we know the name yet. And they just decided to release her as a generic Princess of Zahard. I really don't get it. I don't think it's a good choice. Right now I'm just kind of laughing because it just sounds too stupid to me. I don't know. I guess she's a okay unit to release because she sounds important, she seems important, but the fact we don't know the name is triggering me a little bit. But okay, it is what it is. So this is, unfortunately, I can already say it, but we're going to see in a second, the SSR Plus release of this update. And that's really disappointing. But what's more disappointing is that irregular Urek Mazino, like I kind of speculated in my May calendar video, I was saying that this guy was going to be an XSR Plus, and that was an extremely stupid decision. Then over the weeks, people seem to be convinced that this guy was going to be an SSR Plus because XSR Plus is so stupid, so insane that we all said, yeah, the devs are never going to do it. It would be too stupid to do it. So, like, since the announcement, I was more or less convinced that this guy was going to be an SSR Plus. But obviously, the devs had to actually make him an XSR Plus. This is really, really, really stupid. Because now we have an alternative version of an existing SSR Plus that is not even a good unit. I mean, you can use that unit, you can use Blue Urek, but it's not really meta by any stretch of the imagination. It's just borderline usable. And I hate that. I really do. I really think this is entirely dumb. This is really stupid. I could just complain for like 1 hour, maybe more, just complaining about this, but I think it's better to just move on, read what they're planning to do about this guy, and let's see. Yeah, it's really insane, guys. This could and probably will be the third bad Urek we have in the game. I know they can be used. They have some uses in PvP. They are borderline usable in adventure as well, but nowhere close what you would expect from a Urek. So I'm highly disappointed, and this one I believe is also going to be really disappointing. And the fact that we have another blue Urek is really too much. Like, it could have been a different call or something, I don't know, different role, but new warrior in the blue element. I don't think we need him, but okay, let's see. Because I think that in general, the actual like revolution upgrades that they gave him are not even that bad, to be honest. There is potential, but it is still upsetting, I will say. One thing to note is that this time around, they changed the skills that are going to get the upgrades. Before, it was the Shinsu Barrier active skill on Revolution 4 and the Mazino passive skill on Revolution 5. But now, from what it seems, the passive is getting the Revolution 4 upgrade, and then we have the other active skill that is called Space Distortion getting the Revolution 5, which is at the very least interesting, because if it was like Zahard, where they just changed the Revolution but kept the exact same skills that got the upgrade, that would have been borderline annoying. But what they seem to be doing here is at the very least decent. So for Revolution 4, is going to get an HP buff for each blue element ally. They're kind of forcing him into a blue-only team. But we also have to say that HP buffs are not really that great for survivability. We already have Heljo that has basically the same effect in his kit, and his survivability is trash. We have to say that Heljo is not run with 99% resistances, so maybe on an Urek that already has defense increase on the passive might be acceptable, like this kind of buff could be good, but this is a question mark. I don't think it's good enough. But if it's like 1000% HP, then sure, I guess, but we don't know. So far, I'm just going to consider this as basically relevant. Then we have an additional effect that every time a skill is used, a shield is generated for all allies. Now, we don't know what this shield is going to scale off of. If it's going to be attack scaling, that could be pretty trash. If it's HP based, since we have this buff here, then hopefully they will make unremovable, otherwise it's just dumb. But if it is unremovable and this shield scales off of his HP, then maybe could be really good. But again, we don't know. So far, Revolution 4, pretty underwhelming. But then we have Revolution 5 that I think is probably the best revolution that this guy could have gotten, probably. Is really, really solid. So this one is going to make it so when you use Space Distortion, Mazino becomes invisible for 1 second while teleporting to an enemy. Now, this is really important because this skill, if you don't remember, triggers a sort of buff called Celerity that increases his own swiftness, but that doesn't matter. And then whenever he's attacked, he's going to teleport to the attacker and paralyze them for 1 second. And this is going to also give you a 1 second invincibility every time that happens, which is good if it can trigger again during this 1 second invincibility. So if you keep on getting attacked, you're going to have those whole 20 seconds where you're just invincible for 20 seconds, which could be massive. Could be massive. Could mean that this guy has actually insane survivability. But we don't know. But the good thing is that he already has in the kit like swiftness decrease, he already has buff removal, he's already immune to status effects. So all of those things are great. This is just making him probably stay alive and actually tank. Could be massive. But again, could also be trash if this implies the hits while invisible do not count to trigger the passive, and that would mean you just are invisible for 1 second, then you get one-shotted as soon as the invisibility wears off, something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Then we also have the change of that attack to area of effect. We don't know how big this area of effect is going to be. Hopefully big enough. So that will mean an AoE paralyze with the effect of the active skill, and also energy reduction on enemies hit. If this amount is good, this could be massive. We also have to consider one additional thing, and that is when you have an energy decrease effect on an attack scaling unit, you could potentially run Mago. Now, I think this unit, if this 1 second invincibility actually lasts for the whole 20 seconds, and you have enough swiftness and enough cooldown reduction to make this space distortion effect up all the time, then this guy is effectively immortal, and you could at that point have a unit that will just reduce energy of every single enemy all the time, always be invincible, and then also deal a shit ton of damage thanks to Mago, because Mago is going to give crit damage, crit rate, and defense ignore. Maybe not too insane, but if this invincibility is really reliable, then you don't need Barry, you don't need Rafflesia because he's already immune to status effects. You don't need any of that shit. You could go Mago. So I will definitely consider that, but I guess we'll have to see. Also, because if this guy can actually rely on this entirely for survivability, you might not even need resistances, even though I think you need to at least survive one attack, because the first one will be the one that then procs the space distortion effect, and then you will just be invincible over and over again. But I don't know, like not the space distortion, but like the actual being hit will trigger the teleport that will then trigger the invincibility. We'll have to see how this plays out. There is potential, but if this one doesn't work as I'm thinking, then this guy is trash. 100% trash. And there is no saving him. So, okay. That being said, enough talking about this Urek that will potentially be a flop, and most likely. Let's move on to the next one, that is, as I already said, the SSR Plus unit of this release, Princess of Zahard. And she is going to be a warrior green element physical type. She is going to be a DPS unit because they mentioned she is going to excel in boss battles, which is okay, I guess. Like the new Alliance Expedition boss is going to be blue, so she is the carry for that. If you want to compete in Alliance content, you have to get her. As simple as that. There is nothing around it. We don't know how good she's going to be in adventure or in PvP. No idea. We can kind of guess from the next text we're going to read in a second. But first, I wanted to sort of comment on the color choice and the role choice. I mean, green is fine because green kind of needs some sort of DPS oriented unit. Maybe warrior, I don't agree with. Should have been assassin, I believe. I don't see why giving her the warrior kind of category. She doesn't seem all that tanky to me, or a unit that would want to last for long. She's more like damage oriented from what it seems, so assassin would have been a lot more logical, but it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, that being said, we also have some more information on what she does. Like, she becomes stronger with each skill used. So she probably has something in her kit to reduce the cooldown of her own active skills, or you kind of want to use also Adventure Zahard with her. We don't know, just trying to guess. But okay, just a potential combo that could be interesting. Then we also have some more information on what she actually does. She has a period of time when she can just evade all attacks, similar to Ejin. This could be good if the uptime can be reliably up, and also something that suits an assassin, I believe. So even more weird for going for a warrior on their side, but okay. So we have sort of a survivability tool in her kit, okay. And then whenever she uses a special move, she's going to increase damage dealt to blue element enemies. Now these I don't like. If it was like a blue element resistance decrease, like it is for Augustus, then good, because it works against anyone. But damage dealt increase against blue element enemies is stupid. It's borderline stupid, because it means in adventure, only 1 out of 5 enemies you're going to deal additional damage to. It's just too restrictive. It doesn't sound good for adventure. And look here, they say making it highly effective in adventures. I think they are just stupid. I think the developers just cannot understand the thing. I really don't know. I really don't know. Unless they actually mean blue element resistance decrease, in which case translators just suck, or they're just stupid for not explaining properly. But it is what it is, I guess. So other than that, the other information we have about her is just on her kind of banner. So the banner is going to be similar to what we had for Dolwon. You're going to exchange 2 black market tickets for 5 special summon tickets. The PT is going to be 1% with 100. The PT is going to be 100, and the rates are going to be 1%, which means you need around 400 black market tickets to max her out, considering that the boost mission will give you 2 copies of her. But we don't really know at the moment. And what else do we have here? We also have, okay, Labyrinth of Memories, we don't really care. Other major events. When you log into the game, you're going to get immediately a free copy of Urek Mazino. Okay, nice. Thank you, I guess. And also a new background, Path to the Lopobia family. Okay. Then we also have, okay, the boost mission for the princess. And as a final reward, you're just going to get her with logging in and gameplay without even pulling for her. So 1 free copy, plus I guess 2 from the boost mission. So, okay. But yeah, we don't really have a lot more information on this yet. We'll have to wait. They also prepared a special lucky draw event that is going to give us some A rank ignition weapon selection chest and black market tickets. We don't know the amounts, but knowing them is probably going to be like 20, 40, maybe 50. I don't expect anything more than 50, to be honest, but it could be decent, especially to save up for the family head banners that are coming. And there is also the 3rd season of Memorial Pocket, fine. I think they improved it quite a lot right now in terms of like how easy it is to get the copies of all the other like of all the cards, but still you probably need to spend Suspendium in some refreshes if you want to finish it off, unless you're really lucky, but they did some decent improvements, I think, on that. Then we have some more comments on the progression in the tower. They noticed that a lot of people stopped at 450, obviously, because then you need 3 teams, and you can push to floor 50 with very low links, and then you're going to be stuck because you don't have a 3rd DPS. And they just like to spam some annoying units because they're stupid. Instead of making the teams more varied, they just spam the same comp over and over again, and it's super frustrating. I don't like it. I think this is one of the worst thing they are doing, and that is using multiple times the same units. Across 5 teams, you cannot have the same unit 2 times. That should be a constraint that they also need to follow, because otherwise things are just going to get stupid. I get they're lazy, because I mean, I would be as well if I had to design 600 different fights every 2 weeks, because of the 10 additional floor. Or no, it's only 5, so it's 300 additional stages. Okay, we might exclude the single stages because that doesn't really matter. But you have, 15 per floor times 5, 75. 75 5 teams battle every 2 weeks. That's what you have to design. But I think like repeating the same comps over and over again is no solution. Just, I don't know, use more varied units. Don't spam Shia in every single team. Don't spam Anniversary Evo. Don't spam Urek. Don't spam those fuckers. Just 1 copy across the 5 teams, like we have the same restriction. That would be enough to make this game a lot more enjoyable. Right now, it's just frustrating. But okay, whatever. And that would also make it a lot easier for people to climb, because if I don't have to fight 3 Ureks, maybe I can climb with also units that do not really counter him, because Gustan cannot kill him. So how am I supposed to do on a new account when you just spam Urek every single fight? Like, really, it's super annoying. But okay, so there you notice that people slow down quite a bit, that the special get mission is only basically up to floor 40, even though I don't think it is, because you basically drop out of it super early, unless you really want to break your account and follow the advice, or you're a spender and then you're not really breaking, you're just refunding your expenses, basically. But okay, so they're thinking on some improvements for that. They also noticed that above floor 100, the progression slows down even more, because yeah, 5 teams. If you don't have max HP scaling units, you're not gonna go anywhere. Okay. And with the upcoming update, they're going to expand up to floor 200 for both adventure and hard mode. That's pretty dope. I don't know if they're going to do like 6 teams starting from floor 201. I don't know. Hopefully, yes, because that would be at least a bit more interesting. If they don't spam 6 Shias, but I don't know. At this point, it's better if they leave 5, I think. But okay. And yeah, they didn't share any information on how they're going to address this issue, but we'll see. The next point is that they're going to make it faster to reach floor 130, and how they're going to do it is by reducing the requirements for links below 1000. So if you are below 1000 links, all the improvements are going to be cheaper, and if you're already above it, you're still going to get all the amount that they decreased, they're going to give it to you as free mats. So if you are above 1000, you're going to get a lot of materials, hopefully, depending on how much they nerf the links. And then you can use that to increase your links by probably 20 levels. I don't think it's going to be more than 20 with how expensive link improvements get in the future, but okay. And also they are planning on adding 100 more levels to the cap. So from 1500 to 1600. I'm not a fan of this because I have high hopes for their new system they're going to implement next month. But if they're already thinking about this, it makes me think that that system is going to be trash. So I don't know, guys. Not really a green flag to me. This is more like a red flag, but I guess we'll see. Then we have the new attempt at them breaking accounts. So this is really stupid. They just introduced the special guide mission. They're already going for a special guide mission season 2. They're already changing the unit that is going to be recommended as the first one from Revolution Bomb. That was probably the only good recommendation that they made in that guide, because at least this unit can be used in all stages of the game. But then as the second unit, they picked White. That was extremely bad as a choice. Even more now, because they're going to change the Alliance Expedition boss, so White is also going to be replaced as a bossing unit. We don't know if it's going to be replaced for all bosses, like also the Underground Laboratory, but Augustus also kind of replaced him already in there. But I will say that White is not really a great bossing unit anymore, and in Adventure it falls off really hard. Icarus didn't help him at all, so White is a terrible choice. Second best, second pick, I normally recommended to go for Eden. But these smart devs, or I don't know, they said that they're going to change Revolution Bomb from being recommended to White. So the first unit you have to pull for is going to be White. Now, this is hard breaking accounts. This is one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen them make. If you create a new account, for God's sake, do not follow the guide. Do not go for White. This is stupid. This is borderline insanity. You should really just disregard the guide entirely if they're going to make it so the first unit is White. Absolute dog shit. And what's even funnier is that they mentioned as an excuse that White has been consistently recommended as a top priority by veteran regulars. Now, I have no idea who this is referring to. I don't know who is recommending White. Who in their right mind would say that White is a great pick, is a great top priority pick? I don't know who that is. So this is absolute dog shit. Don't ever follow this. It's stupid. But okay. They also said that they adjusted the number of limit breaks required for White. That is currently 3 red, which means it's going to be Rainbow 5, because it's going to be the first unit to go for. And so from 3 red for the stage 8 is going to be Rainbow 5 for stage 2 or 3. Absolute dog shit. We'll see exactly when this comes out, but if it's how I'm imagining it, it's trash. Absolute trash, guys. Disregard it entirely. I think the devs are just dumb at this point. This is just too much. This is breaking new accounts hard so that they can then spend to fix their own accounts. These do not follow it, please, guys. Do not go for white first. And at this point, if they change it and they remove Revolution Bomb, do not go for Revolution Bomb either. I don't know like which units are even featured in Nonstop because they increase the choice, but then they force you to pick the ones you want. So I didn't even pay too much attention to exactly up to which unit we can pull for. But Revolution Bomb being included probably means no, I don't think no, Yuga is definitely not gonna be there. That one probably not even. There are definitely better choices than that, but this is stupid. This is absolute dog shit. But okay, they're also going to change the special lesson mission. This should be the one that give you the SSR boxes, if I remember correctly. They're going to improve clarity. They're going to consolidate some missions and move some of them to the guide missions. That could be bad because if they make this change for real, then you don't really want to go for this special guide mission anyway. And this would mean you're going to lose out on some stuff. Maybe, but we'll see. And then the funniest part, as always, our selection criteria focus on characters that remain effective throughout the later stages of the game. This core philosophy remains unchanged from season 1. Now, this sentence has to be the like dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Focus on characters that remain effective throughout the later stages of the game. And they remove Revolution Bomb for white. White. This guy falls off so hard. You're never gonna use him. And then they say they want to focus on characters that remain effective throughout the later stages of the game. This is bullshit. If these were true, this would have changed to like Eden first or Eden second instead of white, but just replace white with Eden. And then, yes, I would have agreed. But no. Guys, this is really them, like, I don't know, making fun of us or something. It's really insanity. But okay, next point is just the change to the adventure buff system. Instead of being 3 times a week, it's going to be 1 time every day. So overall, pretty good change, I think. And if you bought the Premium Growth Pass, or however that one's called, like Tower of God Premium, you're going to have 21 times because it's going to be 3 times a day instead of 7. Not bad, I think. So decent. Unfortunately, this buff is only relevant for units that do not scale of HP. So Eden is not really going to notice this. Gustang could notice it a little bit, but most of his damage is going to come from the max HP. Chomray is not going to give a shit. And while other units we don't really have access to, like, okay, yes, Racha is one of those that we have access to and he wouldn't really care. But it's going to be okay for attack scaling units. So that's okay. Then the change they made to the Alliance Expedition to make the Princess of Zahard viable as the only carry option. They changed the like heal to a Frost Steel heal and is going to be a Blue Element one that is vulnerable to Green Element teammates and has a passive skill that puts it at a disadvantage depending on the number of Green Element allies on your team. So they're also kind of forcing you to have as many green units as you can in the team, which is bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. As long as it was just, okay, the unit is like the main carry is going to be green, fine. But also forcing you to go for basically a mono green team is stupid, is really stupid. But okay, we'll see how it actually ends up being. But it's not really a positive change, I think. Then they changed the Alliance Fleet Battle, whatever, I don't care. It's just a weird game mode. I never understood it. The way they decide which alliance goes, like, ranks first than the others is really weird. They might have adjusted it. I didn't even bother to read through it. We'll see when it's live. I don't really care. Then we have another really important part here. We have the communication on the reruns before the next family head. So we have a Gustang rerun on May 26. This one is like 5 days after the update. So it's what, like Monday or Sunday, something like that. It's a really strange date, I think, and it's only going to last for a bit, like I would say a week basically. Yeah, it's going to last for a week. It's a very short time, and it just come after like new players started. They probably are low on resources, and having Gustang first is going to be tricky because Gustang you want to max him out, and you probably won't have the resources right after Gus, right after all of these good units. So it's kind of a trap, as we could expect from them. If you don't have the resources, this is going to be extremely painful because you don't want to miss out on Gustang. Otherwise, you have to wait basically up until December, I think, November, December, around that. And it's really, really annoying. For new players, really hard to go for this guy at this point. But definitely, if you have the resources, you should. He's a great DPS unit. He's the best carry we have currently in the game. So you definitely want to go for him. But yeah, it will all depend on your resources. As of right now, I think the Zahard Princess is not a unit you should bother with if you are free to play. Just as a initial impression with the super minimal information we have, but you can skip her even though she's super cheap. She only costs 400, but it's way better to use those 400 on Gustan to get some more copies. That's what I think. And also, we're going to get Tromray a bit after him, so somewhere in June. They didn't say exactly when. I would expect like probably last week of June, something like that. We're going to get Tromray rerun. This is not too much of a problem because if you don't have a lot of resources, you can just go for green one, blue one, Tromray, and you're fine. And then you save everything else for the new family head. So that's kind of the plan. If Tromray was first, probably would have been better because you can just again go for green one, blue one, and stop. And then you can go for Gustang with a bit more resources, thanks to Tromray. That is going to counter a lot of the Urex you're going to find in the lower stages, in the lower floors. So yeah. But okay, it is what it is. And at least we know that before every new family head, we're going to get the individual reruns of all the previous ones. Maybe from next time they're going to consolidate them since the reruns are going to be 3 and not 2 anymore, but we'll see. Then they made some improvements to auto progress mode. You can do some more changes to like speed, auto cast of the skills and cinematics, whatever, directly while you're there without having to interrupt your auto progress. Fine, I guess. Then we have a new functionality that is going to hide your deck or your team comp for the weekend boss battles. This is going to be pretty cool. At least people cannot copy you. If you can figure out an amazing comp, then you can use it and nobody else will copy it. That's pretty cool, I think. Then they're going to write explicitly that you're going to get an SSS reward like within the next 3 attempts after you max limit break a unit. It's already like this, but they're going to make it clear so that everyone knows that if they didn't already. Then some aesthetic animation change for units in the like home screen, whatever, doesn't matter. Revolution Room, you're going to have the starting point reflecting the previous season progress. So probably obviously you're not going to start from what you finished in the previous one, but likely you're going to skip a lot of floors, which is going to be great, I think. It was really too annoying, too time consuming to do all the lower ones, so I really appreciate that. And if you wear a costume, you're also going to have the costume skin instead of the base model when you go in the information tab. Doesn't matter at all, but okay. Then they're going to make it easier to unlock Amity Talk and the community shit. And I hope this is not going to like substitute the sort of festival we already have, but it's going to be on top because if it's a substitute to that, then the rewards are just dog shit. The exchange shop is ridiculous, is really not good. But we'll see. We'll see. We don't have enough information. And they also let you replay the previous Amity Talk and community, whatever replays, fine. And there is a new area that is going to display the pocket completion or whatever in the profile. Okay, I guess aesthetic stuff, fine. And also some more like emojis and stuff. Okay. And then we have some of the, probably the last thing we have here in the dev notes, but also one of the most important things, I think, and that is the next recruitment lineup. And we have 3 great units. We have Anniversary Iwa, Healing Flame Iwa here. That is going to be your first pick in this banner if you don't ever maxed out. Garam, second pick, I would say, if you don't ever maxed out. But also Evan could be a second pick, so kind of tied, depending on what you need the most. But yeah, Anniversary Iwa, first priority, then either Evan or Garam. Really good banner overall. And Gustan can be skipped, Jinsung can be skipped. Even considering that is going to be buffed, we're going to read that in a second, I still don't think you should go for Jinsung. Because I mean, if you have 0 copies, this one will not get you a maxed out Jinsung, so the revolution buffs are irrelevant to you. And even considering the buffs, is not really a worthwhile unit. So only go for him if you already have Evan, Garam, and Anniversary Iwa maxed out. Otherwise, it makes 0 sense. Now, talking about Jinsung buff, there are some interesting things, but I'm also going to say why I don't think that's going to be enough. Because I can already say this is not going to make this guy worth playing. Maybe decent, but not worth playing. So we have the Revolution 4, that was the Demonic Storm. One of his active skill is just a small AoE attack. That the previous effect was just always lands as critical hit, and energy decrease enhances to steal. Now this will change to, okay, well, this part will remain, but then it's going to add a block HP recovery for 10 seconds. This is an AoE effect, it's not too big of an area, but still acceptable. The thing is an active skill, you're not going to cast it frequently. 10 seconds sounds good as a duration. The issue with that is that these can be removed. So if the enemy has a debuff removal, and there are a lot of them, is going to basically be kind of worthless. We need more HP recovery blocks that are unremovable, like the one applied by Spear Baranak or by, what is that? Kranos Yuri, yes. So those would be great. This one looks good on paper, but I think there are too many shortcomings to it. Then with the Revolution 5, that was dogshit before, it's just a 50% HP recovery when Iron Defense activates. Now that's gonna be kept, obviously, but additionally, the attack increase from the passive is going to have an extended duration of 5 seconds, like 5 additional seconds, and the attack increase effect is boosted by an additional 200%. If the attack doesn't defeat the target, it immediately uses the skill one more time, with a cooldown of 10 seconds. Now, the second time attack is not too important, I would say. This attack increase sounds pretty good on paper, but not that insane. And again, can also be removed. So I would say, all things considered, this HP recovery block being inconsistent, AoE too small, casted a bit too, like, not that frequently, and can also be removed. This attack buff that can be removed and also not really that insane. I don't think it's going to make him worth playing. He's definitely better than before, but not up to a point where you say, okay, I now want to build Jinsung and use it. But yeah, that's basically all we can say. And there is nothing else. So that was all. Let me know in the comments how you feel about all of this, how disappointed you are, because I don't think there is anyone that is like completely happy about this news that they provided us, especially Urek. I think a lot of people would be pissed off. I will still mention, as I already said, there is a lot of potential in his Revolution 5. If they don't mess it up, it could actually make him good. But as I said, I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. So I'm expecting him to be worthless. And yeah, that's all, guys. Again, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.